I think there are a number of owner-operators that don't even know their cost per mile and really need to get a handle on it, because it's such an important tool when you're trying to decide which load to take or how you're going to get home and cover your fixed costs and things like that. So you really need to understand it, and really starting day one or starting over if you're an experienced owner-operator now, and really getting a budget in place to say, what are my fixed costs per day, but most importantly, what are my costs per mile?
Right.
We've made it very easy with an app, with technology, to just get us information, and we can spit it back to you in a profit and loss statement in real time almost.
Wow.
Almost a business day, so you don't have to worry about it. When I started at ATBS almost 15 years ago, we would get boxes of receipts and settlement statements and things like that, and then we would have to input it all, turn it around, and then print a profit and loss statement and mail it to somebody that's out on the road.
Yeah.
Today, you take a picture of something on our app. Usually the next business day, we have it posted on your profit and loss statement, so it's updated real time, so you can really track and monitor your changing cost per mile. Different variables like that, so you can change your business overnight and make decisions overnight instead of in arrears.
That's part of the advancement of technology that I talked about, because I think I was talking to Matt Amon years ago about that process of, keeping your receipts, keeping those paper receipts. And obviously, if you're still getting those paper receipts, that's a critical part of it. But now there's so much to that about in technology being able to integrate even the paper receipts into that technology and keep track of it. One thing I've learned about keeping receipts is by the time it comes around to tax time, even if you're filing quarterly, some of the ink on those receipts will fade. So the great benefit from that technology is being able to upload those receipts if you're using those paper receipts, and being able to integrate that into the technology to make sure you're keeping track of it. Have you seen those practices through ATBS? Have you seen those practices improve with owner-operators out there in terms of tracking their costs along the way?
We have definitely. It's something that we push every day for our clients to make sure that they're checking on that. We monitor it. We reach out. We do everything we can. But yes, when we put out our app, gosh, it's been 5 years ago now. When we put it out, it was a slow integration. People were reluctant. To change what they're doing.
Right.
It's what they're used to.
Yeah.
And so when we started, we maybe got 2% of paperwork through the app. Now it's almost 98%.
Wow.
So it's completely reversed where, hey, just take a picture and get it over with. That way you don't lose it. Like you said, the ink fades.
Yeah.
If you lose it, we can't count it. So let's get it over with. And we've really got that built into the process now where it's just second nature.
Absolutely. And that's it. Developing those practices, those habits of getting it. I had a boss one time that said, well, I've got the touch it once theory, and I put that into practice. And if something comes across my desk, I'm going to deal with it now, get it out of the way, make sure that it's handled, and then move on. That way, that pile on my desk doesn't accumulate. But developing those practices along the way is something that is critical to that.
We have to be careful with technology. We love technology. It's easy. But when we lose focus, when we don't touch the numbers, as I call it, sometimes we don't know what the numbers are as well because we haven't had that interaction. It's like talking to someone on the phone versus a Zoom versus in person shaking their hand, for example.
Sure.
So
I have an example of something that Gary just talked about, and it relates right back to the cost per the cost valuation, basically.
Right.
The notion of touching the numbers that you're dealing with and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always, and the apps are great, speed is great, assistance with programs like ATBS, it's great, but it doesn't always have to be that simple. We ran a story about our trucker of the month for January. His name is Kelvin Schmidt, based up in Minnesota. Anyway, he analyzes his profit and loss per every trip. But it's not a profit and loss statement necessarily. All it is a series of boxes on the back of a piece of notebook paper that shows all of his costs minus or all of his revenue for that trip, and his miles and all of his costs, and then computes the cost per mile for everything that he that he spent.
Right.
And, it shows his fixed costs as well. But he's got, folders full of these things, and he he uses them when he's working with his accountant later. But
Right.
it doesn't have to be snazzy. It's not
Right,
it's
right.
not rocket science really. But
Right.
by writing these things down, like he feels. I mean, he talked about it this way. He feels like he makes it like just a part of his daily life. Like it's just his thing.
Well, okay, that makes a lot of sense because they always say if you want to remember something, write it down. If you want to, but what you're doing is you're going through that process of first of all that very basic, training that we learn early on in life of writing,
Yep.
and so you're engaging so many motor skills and everything else. But that process of all right, I'm going to make these notes. And I would equate it to my type of organization. You look at it, and it's not going to be the neatest.
Yeah.
And so if you have OCD about organization, don't look at my pile.
Yeah.
But it is organized in my fashion.
Right.
And I know I can go straight to whatever it is you're looking for.
Right.
And those are the things. But because you've and he's created his own process. One of the things that I learned, I don't know, years ago, and I learned it from a nephew, actually, who's in business, very successful, and he said, I have to develop a process for everything. And so that process is, all right, if I need to do something, it's just like a project around the home. Grab the tools, okay? What tools am I going to need? All right, maybe I need to make the list. Maybe I need to actually write it down, not just go into my tool closet, and grab things. Write it down. What am I going to need? And then lay them out and make sure they're all here, and then start the project. And everything in accomplishing that, whatever you're going to do, is going to be much smoother than running back and forth to the tool closet over and over again. That process part of it has been, I think, critical for some of the things that I practice in any of the side businesses that my wife and I have, and also, again, my daily routine for this job.